During the holy month of Ramadan, there has been several mosque attacks. Luckily, as far as I know, nobody has been severely injured or died, which is a relief to hear. But it is also important to bring attention to this issue and stay vigilant about fighting Islamophobia. It's a wonderful day in the homiehood, a wonderful day for a homie. Won't you be my homie to Taro? The first article here. Officials at Markham, Ontario Mosque call for government action after alleged attacks. This is the least infuriating of the two incidents that we're going to go through here. And you can kind of guess why the second one is going to be infuriating. Here's a hint. It has to do with the police response or lack thereof. Speaking at a news conference Monday afternoon inside the mosque, Kaiser Nasir Khan said the suspect brought his car to the mosque around dawn prayer, uttered Islamophobic slurs, made threats to burn down the worship place, and tried to run over congregants. So this person clearly unhinged. It is crazy to me that we are like in 2023, 12 years after 9/11, during which this Islamophobic trend really took off, and these incidents are still happening. As president of the Islamic Society of Markham, Mr. Khan said the normal primary function of his job is to make sure congregants are fed when they visit the mosque during the month of Ramadan. I didn't expect to be here in front of you talking about this issue, he said. And really, nobody should have to go through this during a time of worship, especially. The 28-year-old male suspect was detained and charged with 1 count each of assault with a weapon, uttering threats, and dangerous driving. And this is, of course, reminiscent of an attack that happened in London, Ontario, which left 4 members of a family dead and 1 wounded after a man ran over the victims with a truck in 2021. Mr. Khan said the Muslim community have reasons to feel afraid. And of course, this is really the concern, is that this is like, in a way, it is terrorism, right? It's terrorism because it's making people afraid to go about living their lives, right? But it doesn't get framed as that. Why? Because these are sensitive white men who are committing these heinous acts. Make no mistake, we could have been at a funeral today, he said. We will not be intimidated. We will never stop in our mission of love and self-purification and trying to do the right thing. Thursday's incident at the Islamic Society of Markham comes a week after Islamic graffiti appeared on the walls of a Toronto mosque. The National Council of Canadian Muslims also reported an alleged hate crime on transit in early March, in which a knife-wielding man threatened a hijab-wearing Muslim woman in Toronto. Toronto police have said an investigation is underway into that incident as well. Amira Agawabi, Ottawa's special representative in combating Islamophobia, said anti-Muslim hate crimes and threats are especially worrying during the month of Ramadan, given the number of congregants at mosques normally increase. Sadly, every time we hear about hate incidents somewhere happening in Canada, there is a lot of distress, there is a lot of anxiety, she said. Ms. Al-Gawabi said hate-motivated crimes against Muslims in recent weeks have triggered concerns among Muslims in the Greater Toronto Area. It is certainly concerning that we are hearing about more incidents that are being reported just in the past few weeks, she said. Hate crimes are message crimes. And so the message that is heard sadly loud and clear is one of fear and sometimes anxiety. So this is Amira Al-Gawabi, who there was all of this controversy about when she was appointed into this special representative position combating Islamophobia. People in Quebec were really sensitive about some statements that she made because she pointed out that the statistics for Islamophobia in Quebec are really stark and shocking, and she brought attention to that. Of course, some conservatives were losing their mind over simply hearing that racism exists in Quebec and that some Quebecers are racist. It's true. So she says here again, pointing out that Mr. Khan here said, we could have been at a funeral today. It was painful to hear officials from the Islamic Society of Markham describe the fear that members felt after an intruder came into the mosque and attempted to do harm, including an attempt to run over congregants with his vehicle. I visited the mosque today to hear directly from congregants and board leadership about the efforts they are making to ensure people feel safe and what they expect from various levels of government, including law enforcement. Sadly, the attack at the Markham Mosque is not an isolated incident. It comes after a number of recent hate-motivated attacks and leaves communities uneasy and fearful for their loved ones who frequent places of worship. As we enter the final 10 nights of Ramadan, our communities deserve to focus on the spiritual side of this holy month and not have to look behind their shoulders while at mosque. I look forward to advancing the ongoing efforts to combat hate with all levels of government. So yeah, you can only imagine being a Muslim person, right? And what it feels like to be in your place of worship, your safe place, really. And to have to look over your shoulder and wonder like what is going on in your mosque. Is it safe? Is somebody going to barge in? In a way, like, you basically need like security at these places to make sure that everyone is safe. And who wants to really live in a society where you go to your community center with your family and your friends and your family friends, and you feel the need to have hired guards there so that they can protect you from potential intruders. Marit Stiles here is also saying the violent hate crime that took place in this Markham masjid is very. I wonder what is masjid? Is it just the mosque? Place of prostration. Okay. Is very disturbing, especially so close to the anniversary of the London attack, plus during Ramadan. On behalf of the Ontario NDP, we send love and strength and will continue to work with you to combat violence and Islamophobia. So of course that is good to hear from one of the party leaders in Ontario. So I'm glad to see here that it's the London attack is being called a terror attack, and I don't think it's a miscategorization to refer to these incidents as terrorism. Let's see what CBC News has to say about this Markham attack.
The Muslim community is condemning a recent attack on a local mosque. It happened last week, and leaders there are calling it nothing short of hate motivated. Megan Fitzpatrick is in Markham and has the details for us. So Megan, good morning. What happened?
Well, police and witnesses say that around 7 a.m. on Thursday, a man entered the mosque and he started tearing up the pages of a Quran. He also launched into a racist rant, they say, directed at worshipers. They say then the man came out here to the parking lot, Hillary, and started driving dangerously around the parking lot. And some witnesses say the man was deliberately aiming his car at people, trying to hit them before he left the parking lot. Now, police, of course.
First of all, can I just say, like, this is a really nice building? You know, can you imagine like that there's just like an unhinged man in his vehicle trying to run people over outside of this beautiful building? It's so sad.
Were called and responded quickly, and they say then that the hate crimes unit and their intelligence unit got to work on identifying the suspect, and they say they did do that and then started a search for this man, and they say they did locate him just after midnight on Friday in the city of Toronto. That man, now a 28-year-old man, has been arrested and charged with uttering threats, assault with a weapon, and dangerous driving. He is due to make a court appearance tomorrow.
Megan, of course, this comes during Ramadan, Islam's holiest month. How are people at the mosque reacting to this news?
Well, they've been telling CBC that they're obviously very shaken up.
I do wish CBC maybe got some Muslim people to report on this. I know there are Muslim people who work at CBC, you know. I feel like they could have maybe offered more nuance.
By this very frightening incident to witness here at the mosque. And they say they have stepped up some security measures in the wake of this. And so they're trying to absorb what happened, understand why it happened, and also just support each other through this time. Here's a little bit of what some worshipers here told CBC yesterday.
Innocent people are coming down here and pray. And for that, those people, they come over and they threaten, they have really sickness in their head.
It's one thing to come to the mosque and be verbally offensive. It's quite another to use your car to try to strike someone down. I can't wish that for anybody.
We are human beings, and we can expect anything, anywhere. So this is not abnormal, but it is not.
Why do they always cut people off during these segments? Like, why don't they just show the full thing if they're going to, or at least cut it before they cut them off mid-sentence. Anyways.
And this is a close-knit community, Hillary. This is one of the oldest mosques in the city of Markham. So again, they're shaken up. They do plan on having a news conference around noon here today where they will share more of their reaction and how this is affecting them.
Okay, let me cut this white lady off too. Okay, so there was another attack, and this time there is a video. This time it was in Montreal. A man charged after downtown Montreal mosque break-in caught on video. Muslim leaders are criticizing the police response to an early Sunday morning break-in at downtown Montreal mosque, saying that the alleged attack should be investigated as a hate crime. The National Muslim Group posted surveillance videos to social media that appeared to show someone at around 5 a.m. using a rock to break into the Aloma al-Islamia mosque and into the prayer room. The videos, published by the Canadian Muslim Forum, also appear to show the perpetrator attempting to hit and narrowly miss a young worshipper before smashing into the building. Now, Montreal police are saying that investigators didn't believe the incident was a hate crime, which leaves a lot of kind of questions to be asked about the police. I really don't understand if there was a specific attack on a mosque, how it would not be a hate crime. I feel like it's really weird to see a knee-jerk reaction here to say that this is not a hate crime. I think the more obvious reaction would be like, hey, this is a hate crime until we hear otherwise. But I guess, I don't know, they don't want to jump to that conclusion. Can you remind me again that maybe Amira Al-Gawabi was saying something about Quebec specifically having more racism than other provinces when it comes to Islamophobia? Forum President Samir Majzoub said police should investigate whether the alleged attack was motivated by hate, adding that the break-in was not the first time mosques have been targeted in Canada. And but the fact of the matter is that it is a mosque that was being attacked. It's worshippers who have been attacked. And yeah, so it is very strange to think about a mosque attack, an attack on worshippers at this mosque, and how it would not be a hate crime. Mosque officials also criticized the fact that the suspect was released shortly after being arrested. Mohammed Jundi, a member of the forum, who sits on the mosque board, said Montreal police officers were quick to arrive to the scene, but never returned to speak with the dozen or so worshippers who were inside the building when the incident occurred. The police officers did not get out of their car to speak to the people on site, Jundi said in an interview Monday. And Amira Al-Gawabi, who is the special representative for combating Islamophobia, has not made a statement, at least not on Twitter. Oh wait, 47 minutes ago, here it is. More troubling news, relieves no one was hurt. But there really should be a statement here about how the police are not really doing their job. Jundi said the teen who escaped being attacked by the suspect was left shaken and had not returned to the mosque since the incident. He called me right away and said, "Mohammed, I can't believe my eyes," Jundi said. Jundi said when he spoke to a police inspector on Monday, he learned that investigators didn't know a teenager had been allegedly assaulted during the break-in. It's almost as if they don't care and they're not doing their jobs. Majzoub said his group published the video to raise awareness about Islamophobia and urge people to be cautious during the holy month of Ramadan, which ends later in April. People would like to have the reassurance of safety, Majzoub said. They are part of this bigger society and they deserve to feel safe. So, can't help but agree. Let's maybe take a look here at the footage
at a downtown mosque
of
as
the mosque.
A possible hate crime. Matt Gilmore joins us live now. And Matt, the attack happened Sunday morning.
Yeah, that's right. It all started around 5 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. What we're told is that a young member of the mosque was confronted on the street just outside, just near the front door. He was, we're told, verbally attacked and threatened with a shovel. Security footage shows him running to the front door, quickly trying to be let in, and then once he gets in, the door locks behind him. Just as the man arrives at the door, still holding what seems or what looks like a metal pole, the man, clearly agitated, then smashes the window of the door and lets himself in. And once inside, he continues on a rampage until he's inside the main hall of the mosque. The head of security for the mosque says at that point he was confronted by a number of the men who were inside praying, and apparently realizing that he was outnumbered, the man fled. Police were called and they picked him up a short time later, just around the corner. Mohammed Jundi is the head of security for the mosque. He says that the people inside, when they confronted him, they didn't know if he was armed or not or why he was there. And he says their thoughts immediately turned to Quebec City.
The first things that comes on their mind, 2017, the attack at the mosque of Quebec. They knew that they thought there's somebody like coming in, like just to not only threatening, to try to. They're scared for their lives.
So far,
yeah, of course. When there's so many attacks like this as well, when you realize that your place of worship is under attack, your mind is going to go to that, like the darkest place, right? And you know that there have been shootings in mosques before. Like you're basically like terrified for your life, and that's why I think this is beyond a hate crime. Even it is like an act of terrorism.
32-year-old man is facing mischief charges. He was arrested and then released on the promise to appear in court on May 9th. The police.
So yeah, and then they just let him go.
Hate crimes unit is also investigating, and they did leave open the option that there may be more charges laid eventually. And in the meantime, police have stepped up patrols in this area and are paying special attention to this mosque. Maya.
All right. Thank you very much, Matt.
Oh, it's just like, it's really unsettling how they're choosing to handle this situation. Like first of all, they're not even properly categorizing this crime as a hate crime, if not an act of terrorism. And secondly, they just let the aggressor go. I don't know how you look at that footage and you don't think, hey, this person like should probably be detained at least until the end of Ramadan. Like he is clearly unwell, like either he needs mental health support or he needs like some prison time, but it's terrifying to know that that person in that video who is responsible for that attack in Montreal is now just like let loose as well. I don't think that gives much reassurance to the worshipers of that mosque that, hey, don't worry, the police are taking this seriously and it's not going to happen again, right? You basically know in the back of your head that that person is still out there and could show up anytime. That is really scary. And I think we need to do more on this issue of Islamophobia. It's really sad because there are so many legitimate issues concerning like First Nations groups, Islamophobia, and we still see these expressions of like colonization colonization and racism happening in our society. But there are people who spend their time outraged that, you know, Bud Light changed the color of their beer can to like have the pride colors. And that's what they're losing their mind over. And they say things on my YouTube videos like Canada is unrecognizable because people care about human rights issues concerning trans people. And it's like, no, Canada is actually very recognizable as this place where colonization still exists, and people are more worried about issues that barely affect anyone. Like the I don't know, the trans Instagram influencers, instead will turn a blind eye when it comes to these issues like terrorism being done by white men for Muslim people in Canada. I just feel like we have our priorities completely rearranged in a way that actually does not advocate strongly for justice. Why not make sure you don't miss the next video by liking, commenting, subscribing, and ringing the bell? Thank you so much for watching. It's my homie 2 Taro. Peace.